Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. I'm your host, Tate Frazier. It's a beautiful Tuesday, so you know what that means. We got cousin Sal in the building from Brooklyn. Sal, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you, Tate. I hope you could deal with the siren effects outside. Those are real. That's not anything I added. That's nonstop all day
I
long.
thought
But it's
I
great,
thought that
great
you
to
were
be here.
throwing those in there. I thought you had a little sound machine there making some noise for us. It's good to have some natural sound. We love some natural
Yeah.
sound. Shout out to New York City. I'm glad you're there, and shout out to Jimmy Kimmel there in Brooklyn as well. We're excited to see all those shows. A lot of good shows coming up. But speaking of good shows, let's talk about this show. Let's talk about what happened.
Okay.
Not so good shows last night. Not so good games either. Monday Night Football, Sal. We had a 2-for-1. I'm not sure we even got one that was really worthy of our time. But again, we did get some storylines. I want to start with Tyreek Hill. That was probably the biggest storyline from last night. Gets injured. I guess the word would be catastrophic injury, unfortunately. So, Tua after the game was talking about, how he was happy everyone survived. But unfortunately, Tyreek Hill is no longer going to be playing. It looks like for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
He yelled yes on the cart as he was celebrating. He said it was a bit of a joke, Tua did after that game. But just your thoughts. I mean, that was quite a moment last night on Monday Night Football.
Well, he did survive, though, right? You said not everyone survived. He did. He's living, or is that MR? Does the MRI have to come back? I think.
I think we're
Yeah,
waiting
no.
on it. Yeah.
No, it sucks for him. I mean, obviously, one of the premier players in the league, whether you think he's on the other side of his prime or not, a knee injury, one of the fastest players in the league, and Dolphins definitely need him in the mix to compete. So I don't know. This is a win, but a bigger loss for them overall. I'm thinking about the coach there. He gets another week reprieve, but then I'm also looking ahead. They have the Panthers and Browns in 2 of the next 3 weeks. So maybe he sticks around past Halloween. But yeah, not impressive really by either team.
No, not at all. And the Jets, they had 101 penalty yards in this game. Obviously, Aaron Glenn, I mean, they looked great in their first performance of the season. They ended up losing that game anyway. But it feels like things are a little bit off the rails. Obviously, McDungeons and Dragons, I was happy and good to see him get a win last night. But from the Jets' perspective, Sal, I mean, are we looking at the future #1 pick there for this team? Like, how bad is it right now in New York? This is the Ringer Gambling Show presented by FanDuel. And if you're betting on the NFL, FanDuel's the place to do it. They've got everything. Same game parlays, quick bets for when you want to jump in live and your way so you can set your own lines. The app's fast, it's easy to use, and best of all, when you win, you get paid out instantly. Download the FanDuel app or go to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older in D.C., Kentucky, and Wyoming. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
I thought they would be a team along with the Giants that wouldn't win much, but they would compete. And so I guess that's what we're getting, right? I know the spread was light, so they didn't really even cover, but to make it 27-21, and probably the most impressive play of the 5-6 hours we saw of the 2 Monday night games was the Justin Fields run. So that's nice. But you're right. That 101 penalty yards, that's what killed them. It really is. In a 1-score game, you can't have that many penalty yards. You really can't in any game, but almost 200 yards rushing, including that Fields scamper. So there were some good things to see about the Jets, but you could sign me up right now that neither one is making the playoffs, neither of these teams.
So officially locked in. We're going to Sharpie it. Cross off teams. We can put a big X
Cross
on
them
both
off.
these teams, right? Yeah, let's cross them off.
We don't have to, but we're just putting off the inevitable if we don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's cross them out and, pour one out for JJ, John Jastrzemski. At least he got a win last night, but,
right.
And
he saw it. He was there. Yeah.
Nice.
He was there for that. Can you imagine? I have Met fans that went to see that Marlins last game where they didn't score, Met fan friends, and my Dolphin fan friends. At least he got to see a W.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you talk about the Mets. I know that's a tough touch point right now. I know that Bill opened up the podcast on Sunday trying to ask you about the Mets, and I did not think that was very fair of him. So we'll keep it out of the equation here. Let's talk about the other game.
He's a jerk. He's a jerk. You're not. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. But yeah,
I'm a nice guy. You know what I mean? I'll save you from that, and I can blame the GM for the trades they made at the deadline. That's what you can do.
Right.
Let's talk about Bengals and Broncos. That was also a game that happened last night. Do the Broncos look like the team that we thought they would be, Sal? I mean, obviously not the most, talented group, I guess they were going up against, especially with Browning struggling last night. But they do get a nice win, 28-3, and it looked like the Broncos' defense was the defense that we thought they would be at the beginning of the season.
Defense was great, right? I think the Bengals scored first on their first drive, right? They went down the
Hmm.
field and like this. That's weird. Wow. But they themselves, the defense was good. The Broncos had 186 yards rushing, so it's the Dobbins and Harvey, the 1-2 combo. I don't feel as bad about drafting RJ Harvey in like 6 of my fantasy leagues. So, and in terms of the playoffs between this game and weird things happening like Baltimore possibly on the
Ooh.
outside looking in for the playoffs with their injuries. Not guaranteed. Cincinnati, of course, with Burrow out. They're guaranteed out. So Denver now, I was looking -120 to make the playoffs. We just might be running out of teams to get that 7 slot, whether you like the Broncos or not.
Yeah, the AFC West looking really good right now as far as their potential with maybe 3 teams making the playoffs. I do want to talk about Jake Browning a little bit. Bill on the show had mentioned to you that he thought he might be the best backup in the NFL. Are we sticking to that at this point, or do we think he is the best backup in the
I
NFL?
think that's fine. Maybe he is the best. No, he's not the best backup. I can't win. Now we have to take that away from him. But even the best backup, they have shelf lives, right? Like, there's not going to be a miracle story every year. These guys are going to, and in Browning's case, it was 1 game against the Jaguars. Then he was awful against the Vikings. Not good last night. What was he? 14 for 25, 120. Like they had 9 first downs, the Bengals. They had 3 by pass, 3 by run, and 3 by penalty. That's like a good quarter or a good half, like 9 first down. It's like really like if you had first quarter, 9 first down, like, wow, that's interesting. But it might be looking like Brett Rippon time or, even if they traded for Russ, they could possibly be in contention. They are still 2-2. Like we said, that 7th spot is really up for grabs.
Yeah, Russ looks ready. Another guy that looks ready to fight somebody, Jamar Chase. He goes up to Zach Taylor late in this game, Sal, and we're not really sure exactly what was said, but he went up to Zach Taylor with his, he was venting. I think he was airing his grievances. It was a Festivus on a football field a little bit there. So what do you think Jamar Chase said, and is there any way to appease a number 1 receiver of his caliber when he doesn't have anybody that can get him the football?
I think they were just discussing Skyline Chili and if it's as good as everyone says, is that Cincinnati? Isn't that thing? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a big thing. Yeah.
Look, man, I look this Zach Taylor. He goes as far as Joe Burrow takes him. He really is. He might, in a way, be the luckiest coach out there because he's never really been on the hot seat as long as Joe Burrow's in there, and when Joe Burrow's out, he gets a reprieve. So, yeah, I could see the frustration between the Chase and Higgins, and these guys are getting 4 and 5 targets, and they're supposed to be, they were given a ton of money in the offseason. But yeah, that's why the change needs to be made, I think, at quarterback.
Yeah, you paid the receivers, but now you don't have a guy to throw him the football. And turf toe is one of those injuries. You talk to anybody that played football, they're like, it's one of the worst ones, one of the most nagging injuries. So for now, the Cincinnati team looks like they are just looking for answers. And you mentioned it, Russell Wilson is ready. I saw him on the sideline this weekend. He was in full gear. He was practicing throws on the sideline.
They've made their decision. Go ahead, make the trade. You can get in there.
Yeah, you make a trade. Let's talk college football, Sal. We had some big games this weekend. Obviously, Alabama going down to Georgia. We had Oregon going to Penn State. I want to start with that Oregon-Penn State game. Oregon had complete control. It looked like the classic James Franklin was going to fall on his face, but then there was some magic that happened. And then at the end, it was just the same old for James Franklin. Oregon figures out a way to get a win. Dan Lanning was having a great time in the post game. I have never seen a coach so fired up after a win. Obviously, the whiteout was a big deal, but Oregon, do you think they're the best team in the country? I think that's sort of the question now. We got Ohio State, obviously, as the penciled-in number 1 team. But after that win at Penn State, do you want to bump them up as the best team in the country?
It's interesting because to be the best team, you have to have the best win, right? So is that the best win going to Penn State in the whiteout? It really might be over Texas, who we've seen is struggling, right? That's Ohio State's best win. So I think they're 1-2. If you look at the numbers there, they're plus 160, the slightest favorite over Ohio State to win the Big Ten. That's likely the Big Ten championship, both with 0 or 1 loss. Now, Indiana, we're going to talk about that game in a minute. They're the only team that could screw that up, I think. But otherwise, we're looking at Ohio State, Oregon. Yeah, Dan Lanning screeching, loses his voice like Peter Brady. Season 3. I don't know what season it was. Brady Bunch. But anyway, yeah, big win for Oregon. That's a giant, right? When you put a pin in a crowd like that, that's memorable, as memorable as any home win.
Yeah, Dante Moore looking like a Heisman candidate as well. So that's encouraging. And the Big Ten, the two best teams in football right now coming out of that conference. Let's talk about the SEC because everyone's trying to figure out who the best team is in the SEC. There was a belief that that team was Georgia until Alabama goes down there and gets a big win, 24-21. I did want to point out one of the worst drops I've ever seen. Georgia had a guaranteed touchdown, throw it up to a redshirt freshman. He drops it, loses it in the lights. And, if he makes that catch, scores that touchdown, this result's a little bit different. Kirby Smart was great after the game, kind of talking about, you can say I'm 1-7, you can say I'm snake bitten, but I don't really think about it that way. James Franklin had sort of the same talk afterwards, but both these guys lose this game. Is Alabama, Sal, the best team in the SEC now? Because that's the next question.
I mean, this is a team that we were looking at like, all right, are they going to even make the playoffs? Look what they did against Florida State. But this is another, of course, super impressive win and 10 out of 11 in this rivalry. How is that possible? This Georgia team's been so good over the last decade, and they've won 10 out of 11. Bama. So they're plus 260 right now to win that SEC. Texas right behind them at plus 290. But it's going to be interesting because we may have a two-loss team in the SEC championship. I don't think that for the Big Ten at all. Could be, undefeated teams. And there's lots of big games ahead. Bama's Tennessee, OSU, Oklahoma. Texas has Oklahoma, Vandy, Georgia, A&M. So I don't see how we avoid getting that two-loss team in the SEC champ. Like, who's the second best team in the SEC if you give Bama first?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about who that could be. Ole Miss beats LSU. Obviously, that was a big conversation point. We had a lot of off-the-field chatter. Whit Weeks, the star linebacker for LSU, obviously dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. That was dropped
Not
on
anymore.
the road heading.
Not anymore.
They broke up. Yeah,
they're done. They didn't make it. Like
There's
Keith
some
Urban.
questions. Keith Urban, Nicole Kidman pouring out for
Something's
them.
in the water.
What's going on with love out there? But yeah, Ole Miss wins this game. Lane Kiffin loved every second of it. Whit Weeks was throwing up on the field. He did have a fumble recovery early in this game, but LSU cannot run the football. Their offense is very stagnant. You got people kind of chirping, talking about they need to get a new offensive coordinator. But I would say Ole Miss looks like the second best team in the SEC, number 4 right now in the AP poll. Are you buying into Ole Miss and the Rebels, Sal?
I think SEC gets the nod this year over Big Ten in terms of that third team. If a third team's going to get in, that third SEC team is going to get in for sure. I think fourth is what we're looking at, and Ole Miss is now minus 184 to make the playoffs. So a substantial favorite. LSU minus 260 to not make the playoffs. Again, there's just monster games on these schedules for all these teams, whereas the Big Ten, it's kind of, if you could just avoid one trap game, you're right there in the playoff hunt.
Let's talk about a trap that, as far as gambling purposes, got into a lot of people's heads this weekend. Fernando Mendoza, who's a favorite for Heisman right now, quarterback of Indiana. He's late in this game. He's trying to run out the clock, Sal. Again, the point spread is what is in the back of all the gamblers' minds as they're watching this game. He decides to sprint back to his own end zone and run out the clock and take a safety, a sacrificial safety that ruined a lot of people's point spreads. Do we need to do something about this, Sal? Like, is there any sort of reprieve where maybe you just get your money back if you put this bet in? Because that felt like a little too on the nose and obviously hurt a lot of people when they saw it live in real time. Finished up 20-15 as opposed to 20-13 as it should.
Right, and it was like a 6.5 point spread, so it fell right in the middle there, and and he, listen, quarterbacks have a lot to think about. I don't know that they should be thinking about the spread also, but I get it. He had to run out the clock. Did he have to run into the third row of the crowd? Like, he could have taken a knee at the 6-yard line. The 4 seconds had elapsed by plenty, by a 3 Mississippi count. So what can we do? We could take his Heisman vote away from him. I don't think that's Heisman worthy. Behaving like that, honestly.
Yeah, that was it was a very strange decision as I watched it live. I was like, what is he doing? And I thought they were going to still have to punt to him anyway, even with the clock ran out. But, at the end of the day, they do get the win. That was the encouraging part for Indiana. That Iowa game, playing at Iowa, is a lot more difficult than people realize. Right. And I do think for them to win that game was a pretty big deal. So shout out to Indiana. Pour one out for all the bettors out there that had that, that minus 6.5 line because Fernando Mendoza said not today. He did apologize, Sal, in the press conference. So that was was nice of him. So
Yeah, well, he doesn't want the votes going away. Yeah, it all matters, Tate. It
yeah,
really
he's a little
does.
bit worried. Let's do some line look aheads here. Let's turn to college football this weekend. We got some fun games. You mentioned Texas earlier. We're all trying to figure out how good is Texas at this point. They have not beaten
Yeah.
a Power Four team yet on their schedule, and that is what is going to be up against them this weekend. They're going to be playing in the Swamp at Florida. Florida plus 6.5 in this game. The over/under is set at 41.5. Who do you like in this one, and what do you like, Sal?
I'm just going to keep betting Florida against great teams until they cover. It might take 3 or 4 years, but we might be here. We might not be. But, they're coming off a bye, the Gators, so they get some injured players back. And look, Texas is what it is, right? They and Arch Manning, they're outside the top 100 in offensive production, almost any metric. So it seems impossible that that's the case, but they don't cover either. They're 1-5 against the spread in the last 6. I think DJ Lagway gives us an average game. I'm no longer going to go, all right, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Maybe he's not that quarterback, but I like catching points in this spot. I say 22-19 Texas. I'll take the 6.5 though.
I like that call. This is what Lagway said when he was asked about the offense. He said, quote, eventually it's going to pop, and when it pops, it's going to be hard to stop. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know if he's doing a Dr. Seuss impression or what there, but I like the rhyme. It sounds good, and I'm going to take Florida money line. Now, I did this before with the Miami game, which was, it was a dubious proposition, but they were in that game. They should have beaten LSU if you really look at it without the 5 interceptions from Lagway when he had his Del Home day. Yep. So Florida money line plus 195. I think they get it together this weekend. I do not think Texas is a very good football team. I think on the road in the Swamp, it's going to be a tough night, and I think Florida is going to get a little bounce back moral victory here, and maybe a literal victory as well. So both of us like the Gators. Next up, we're going to stick in Florida, Sal. Line look ahead. We got Miami at Florida State. This should be the game day game, but it is not. We got Vanderbilt, Alabama instead, but FSU plus 4.5 in this one. The over-under is set at 54.5. What do you like in this one, Sal?
Well, I like you to go have this changed. This should be the game day. Make some calls, Tate.
Yeah, I'll do what I can do.
You know what you're doing. I'm going to take the Florida underdog team at home again, even though there's not a lot to not like about Miami, right? FSU coming off that bad loss against Virginia in overtime, but that Alabama win now for Florida State is looking massive. So you look at their rankings, they're first amongst FBS teams in points per game, 53. And I know you like that Tommy Castellanos. I think your boy coming off a loss. This is good. I'm going to say 31-24 Noles, but I'm going to take the points to be safe. Not you, though. Not Big Testicles Tate coming over the top. You're taking them to win.
Yeah, I'm going to take FSU money line. Doak Campbell looked incredible against Alabama. I think FSU at Virginia. Virginia is very similar to Iowa in the sense that maybe overlooked by the casual fan as a tough place to play, but it really is a tough place to play. And they had 50,000 deep, one of the best field rushes we've seen, in sports history, really. So for Florida State to survive that, that was going to be a really tall task, and they do not get away in overtime, even though close to being a catch where they could have gotten away. But again, we don't have to get into the particulars of that game, but I think Florida State's going to bounce back in this one. So I'll take FSU money line plus 158. And if I know anything about the ACC, Sal, is like, this is always self-sabotage. There's never going to be a team that's untouched. And when there is, there's going to be some sort of upset. So I think Florida State ruins it for everybody. And
do you know anything about the ACC? Do you?
No.
I don't know. Okay. You said if I know anything about the ACC.
Yeah,
and then
maybe I don't. I don't know.
That was good. No,
I'm going to take the Seminoles in this game. So both
we're
of us.
We're lock in step. We got that.
Yeah. We got Florida. We got Florida State. We'll go back to Big Ten country here. I guess so. It used to be Pac-12 country, but we'll do a line look ahead. Indiana at Oregon. Oregon minus 10.5. Big line there. The over-under set at 51.5. What do you like in this one, Sal?
I like a little bit of a letdown here. This is where we're going to disagree, right? So, that Illinois beatdown, that Indiana beatdown to Illinois just still scares me a little. And I know they came back to earth. We talked about it against Iowa. They won. Should have covered. Night should be a nice matchup between Mendoza and Dante Moore. Top 2 or 3 Heisman candidates we're talking here. I think it's going to come down to another big play on defense by Oregon late to seal it for Dan Lanning's squad. 26-21, I'll say. Not enough to cover. Little lackluster. Maybe takes a minute for the offense to get going, but they win that in Eugene. I would take the points, though. You're going the other way.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way just because of Autzen Stadium. One of the loudest places to play, one of the toughest places to play. And I do think that Indiana, at the end of the day, they're going to hang in this game early, but Oregon's going to leak out late and end up winning this game by a couple touchdowns, in my opinion. I think they get a late touchdown to spread it out to 14 or so. But again, when I saw that 10.5 line, it did spook me a little bit. So, it's hard to really buy in, but at -115, -10.5, I'm going to go with the Ducks in this one. And shout out to Archie. I hope the Ducks can get it done
Yeah.
for him. It's going to be a fun game. Like you said,
He's got
two
to wake
Heisman
up early for
candidates.
this. No drinking, Arch, Friday night. This is an early game on
Yeah.
the
Be
West
smart
Coast.
out there, Arch. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Going to be a good game, though. So I'm excited. Good week for college football. We'll be locked in on all that. Let's do some track to the futures. We got MLB, playoffs starting this week. We got some fun divisional bets to go through. Let's start there. Track to the future. Favorite NFL division value bet that you see on the board right now, Sal? What do you like?
We talked. I talked with Simmons about this Sunday night. In between sips of hot water and lemon. That was him.
I
Not me.
almost got hot
Yeah.
water and lemon just to do a little bit here, but
Good.
I
Thank you.
couldn't figure it out.
Thank you for refraining. I
I had
know
no
it's,
lemons.
it's complicated. Yeah, when you don't have lemons.
He said he had to clear the pipes. I thought that was nice. That makes
I don't
sense
even
to
have
me.
hot water. That's how bad it is for me. I could get a lemon, I think. But so I'm looking at the value bets in the division. What are you going to go with? Like the Chiefs chart, try to figure that out, or the Lions pack? I don't think the number's there yet. AFC South, forget it. I'll stick with the Jags. That was my pick. No thanks. But Seattle at plus 390, almost 4-1 odds. Now I know they were about 8-1 like last week, so that was when to grab them before that Thursday night win. But I've seen enough of this team to think that they could scratch out 9 wins, right? Sam Darnold is okay. He's not turning into a pumpkin anytime soon. The Rams are probably the best team in the division, but at 4-1, I'm going to take my chances with the Mike McDonald's squad.
Yeah, I like it. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been great this year, and especially in
Mhm.
crunch time for the Seahawks team. So I think at plus 390, there's a lot of value there. I went down the board and I was having a tough time. I mean, Pittsburgh was a little bit enticing. Now, you guys were saying there's a horseshoe up their butt, and I think there's a lot of luck on their side. So maybe that continues throughout the year. So maybe Pittsburgh could be something you go after. But I'm going to stick with the team that I trust. I trust the Detroit Lions and the fact that you can get them at plus money. After watching the Packers in that Cowboys game and just seeing, that defense get decimated by Dak and the boys, I was saying to myself, you know what? I trust the Lions. So I'm going to go Lions plus 125. I like what I've seen. Even though they already lost the Packers, they get to play at home against them. I think they get their get-back game, and I think they end up winning that division.
You know what? Hutchinson might be as good. This is as Micah. I don't know. Maybe that's sour grapes, but it might come down to that. It really might. I'm gonna keep telling myself that over and over. But I do think the Lions, despite losing to Green Bay that first week, have righted the ship, and they'll have a home game against the Packers too, to maybe jump in front of that division for good.
Yeah, and I will say we don't give enough credit to these guys that come back from injuries. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson goes down last year, a brutal injury, and he comes back and he looks incredible. And it's just like he never missed a beat. So, kudos to him. Kudos to the Lions replacing those coordinators that both left, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. It seems like this team is just rolling as they always do. So shout out to them. Let's do some track to the futures here. Best MLB wildcard series pick. We got some good ones. Yankees, Red Sox, a great rivalry game that is going to meet up in the wild card. Cubs, Padres, Tigers, Guardians, Dodgers, Reds. Who do you like on the board here, Sal? And who do you buy into in the wild card?
Baseball going on all day right now. Tigers, Guardians getting ready. I'm going to take, I think the best value in these series is the Cubs at minus 124. They start game one with Matthew Boyd, who's 12-1 at Wrigley. He gets the ball today. I think they win game one. Their bullpen is spectacular. Oh, that must be nice. So they'll hold on, I think, against this pretty average Padres lineup. Great home field advantage all week. Cubbies a bargain at $1.24.
Yeah, and the home field is so important in these wild card series. All 3 games, obviously, for the home team there. So that's also a wrinkle that I think a lot of people will forget with this sort of stuff. But I am going to zag a bit, and this is not trying to suck up to our boss, Bill Simmons, but I'm going to take the Red Sox plus 148 to win this series. I think they're going to win game one. I think there's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system to the Yankees. They'll get game 2 back, and then game 3, pressure's on the Yankees at home in front of that crowd. The crowd's going to turn on them quickly. I think it's a mental game with the Red Sox. I think if there was any other jersey sitting in the other dugout, I think they would handle business because they're the better team. But for whatever reason, I think Boston comes in and gets the win. So I'm going to take the Red Sox at plus 148. Am I crazy for that, Sal?
No.
To buy into the Red Sox?
I mean, we'll get to the game 1 pick. I mean, we have baseball picks coming up at the end of the show. But, yeah, no, that's a very even series. And people out here are nervous, Yankee fans. That's the one team you really don't want to play in the first round. That's far cry from when you got to beat up on the Twins and then just breeze into the ALDS. But, yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Also, a lot of dancing on the graves of the Mets, which I feel like is just bad
Yeah, I don't like
juju in
that.
general. Yeah. So when they
Yeah,
started
yeah.
doing that, I was like, I'm worried about this team right now. Next up, track to the future World Series winner. Obviously, we got the whole playoff picture mapped out here, but if you had to put money on it, Sal, who do you think is going to win the World Series this year?
Well, I do have to put money on it, and I did put money on it, and I don't like it. It seems like a lazy pick, but I'm going to go Dodgers at plus 550. So they have this first round matchup against the Reds, and baseball playoff matchups are rarely anything higher than like minus 150. They're like a 3-1 favorite over the Reds, who their best hitters like at 275. They don't have home run hitters. They don't have a pitcher with like 12 wins. The payroll is 509 million to 121 million. That always works out for the richer team. Maybe not, but Mookie Betts is heating up. Kershaw could be his swan song. You have Otani, Glasnow, and Yamamoto. That's a top rotation right there. Plus the bats, Muncy, Hernandez, Edman, Freeman, of course. They've all had big time at bats in the playoffs, right? And they're not afraid of the bright lights. So plus 550 is finally, I think, a good price for the Dodgers. I hate them, but let's go.
Yeah, it's hard to go back to back. They've never done that in franchise history. We honestly haven't seen it much in baseball in general. So, that's really the reason why you kind of, fade the Dodgers at this point. But based on the actual baseball, I feel like it's a really surefire bet there at plus 550. I'm going to go with the Mariners. I'm going to go with Seattle. Cal Raleigh. I like the vibes of this team. And I do feel like, he was asked after he hit his 60th home run and he dropped the F-bomb for the whole crowd, but he said, let's go F and win this thing. And it got me fired up, Sal. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Why can't Seattle just go out there and win the World Series? You got Ichiro sitting up in the box celebrating his Hall of Fame year. And, I'm all in on the Mariners. So I like Cal Raleigh. I like the big dumper. I like this team. I think they're a tough team. I think they're a gritty team. And, the AL, everyone's talking about the big dogs. And I feel like, Seattle's going to get through there and finally win a World Series. They're overdue. They need one. So,
you know what? I'm going to bet them to win the American League because I can't have both teams to win the World Series. But you convinced me, Tate. I like them. I like the atmosphere there. They got really hot the last 2 weeks, so peaking at the right time.
I like hot teams going into the playoffs. Seattle checks that box. Last track to the future here. Best bet to make or not make the playoffs. Obviously, we talked about these two teams a little bit earlier, Georgia or Penn State. Which one are you going with, Sal?
Yeah, so Georgia, after those losses, Georgia minus 162 to make it. Penn State minus 170 to make it. I don't like either of those, and I especially don't like Penn State. So I'm going plus 138 for them to not make it. I was very excited for that Oregon win, but Penn State was not very good most of that game. They had at least offensively 120 yards of offense the first 3 quarters. The white shirts didn't exactly motivate them until very late in the game, and then they blew it. They're at Iowa. You already talked about how tough that is. They're at Ohio State, and they're home for Indiana. 3 losses, I think, in the Big Ten, and you're out. 2 losses, you might need help. I don't know if you have 2 losses, you break a tie over Georgia or Ole Miss or Tennessee. So Big Ten, I feel like got their break last year. I really love this plus 138. I think you're with me.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Plus 138 looks nice. I looked at the schedule just like you. I'm saying to myself, they're not going to win at Ohio State. I just don't see that happening at all. So that's going to be another loss on the board. I think Indiana might be able to go in there when they're already kind of a downtrodden team at that point, not the season that they expected or hoped for. And maybe they're just kind of done with it so they could lose that game as well. So plus 138, I think there's some value there for Penn State. And if you're a Penn State fan, this is good news. Maybe you can fade your way back up to making the playoffs. So we'll see
good
what
news
happens
that we're betting against them is good news.
Yeah,
probably.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well, it's good when anybody's betting against anybody. You know what I mean? It's called bulletin board material. People love it. We're going to take a quick break here on the Ringer Gambling Show. When we come back, we're going to have the Ringer's very own Joel Anderson join us for some over-under reactions, and we're going to talk some college football and some media with Joel. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. As promised before the break, joining myself and cousin Sal, we've got the Ringer's very own Joel Anderson in the building. Joel, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Am I here just because Van was busy right now? Or
I think he's doing a big pick or something. He's doing something. He's talking about something.
Sorry, he's in demand. He's in demand. But I'm glad to be back. Thanks. I appreciate it.
No, we need you
You're
back.
in demand. We demanded you come on this week.
We slammed the table just like Brian Kelly. We said we need Joel Anderson back.
Damn it, I'm tired of it. And he had Joel number 2.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do some over-under reactions. There's a lot of stuff happening out in the ether, out in the world. So let's start here. And Joel, you obviously played football, so I want to get your thoughts on this as well. The NFL needs to figure out a way to get rid of ties. Over or under reaction, Sal, your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to say it's a little bit of an overreaction. I didn't mind the
Oh,
tie as
okay.
much as everybody because it was more embarrassing to Green Bay to relinquish a 13-0 lead to my terrible Cowboys. But I'm not in favor of these games going on forever. We started this podcast. I'm on the East Coast at the 20 minutes after midnight. I don't feel like either team did enough to win in overtime. It maybe add 2 minutes, but I'd hit about 14 other rule changes before the going after the overtime procedure.
George Pickens said he didn't even know you could tie, and he seemed very upset about that. He seemed flummoxed by the idea
Yeah.
of a tie.
A lot of people don't
know. Over under reaction. Your thoughts?
I think there's a general overreaction to being mad about the tie because I mean, how often does it really happen? And it's
Right.
kind of funny that it happened to these two teams, but I do think that the overreaction initially was that, oh man, Josh Allen didn't get to have a possession. That was the overreaction. The way the NFL had done overtime was fine until then, and then all of a sudden, Josh Allen didn't get a chance to respond, and we had to change the whole rules. I mean, it's just not fair to ask these dudes to play 5 quarters of football. I'm sorry. Like they're already playing 17 games. If you score on your first possession, that should be enough. So I think there's a general overreaction, but I think the sentiment is the correct one.
Yeah, so you're saying the overreaction already happened there and that the Cowboys should have won after they kicked the field goal. I think that's a good call. I think Cowboys fans would be happy.
I'll take that. Yeah.
I
mean, I don't like to look, no offense, Sal, I don't like to make Dallas fans happy, but
that's okay.
I have to deal with it. It's okay.
You can't, you could try and try and try. You won't make Dallas fans happy.
That is a fair, you all have a rough year.
That's the Jerry Jones point there. Next up, we need more coaches fighting each other post game. Joel, I'll go to you first. Over or under reaction?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, now it's up to you. You want to go up against Saleh? You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of seemed like he was waiting for that his whole life, man. It's just like, man, if his thought was, man, if Liam Cohen ever fucks with me, this is how I'm gonna get him. You know what I'm saying? If he ever comes up to me again, and it was just like, oh man, you walked right into my trap. But man, yeah, you remember Tom Herman and Mike Gundy going after each other one time after a game? Or the whole Harbaugh and Pete Carroll, what's your deal? That thing, like that stuff is great, man. I love it. There need to be more coach fights. In fact, maybe a better overtime would be coaches fighting.
Yes.
And they would play with a little bit more purpose.
Yeah, put 2 minutes on the board.
Yeah.
Let's see what they can do. Yeah.
I love
over
that.
underreaction.
I love it. I think it's an underreaction. I endorse Joel fully, but maybe you play the overtime, and if it's still tied, then you designate a clash coach. Right.
Okay.
So Cowboys have their strength and conditioning guy. Packers have their running back coach built like a fire hydrant. I mean, think about how much we'd root for ties if this was the case.
Oh man, so you don't want to put Mike McDaniel in harm's way? I see. That's what it is.
Oh, I guess that's a problem.
Big Dom to go out there. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. The Eagles would still win everything because they throw Dom out there. So forget it. Scrap the whole idea.
Next up, the Ryder Cup crowd should not be as drunk as the Dublin football crowd. Sal, over or under reaction?
I'm going to say overreaction. I like the emotion of the Ryder Cup with the players pumping their fist after 30-foot birdies and cursing, the fans cursing their mothers, right? So why should golfers and tennis players have a completely dead quiet environment to compete in? Like, what does that prove? Like, I say, let the F-bombs fly, play the vuvuzelas, then we find out what everyone's made of. Sorry, Rory, a guy made fun of Ireland during your backswing. So what? It's better than the Masters, except for when it's not close, I think, because of this.
A lot of squeaking of the ducks. That was a big thing. They had drinks that had the little plastic ducks, and then they were squeaking them in Roy's backswing. There was a lot happening there. Joel, over or under reaction? Your thoughts?
So I have to be honest, I've never played golf before. I've sat in a cart and seen people play a whole round of golf, but I've never done it myself. But I was kind of like, what to Sal's point, why does it have to be quiet for y'all? And like tennis, like everybody, nobody else. You're the golf player here, so I don't know. But the expectation that you should have a pristine setting and that everything should redound to your particular preference. I need y'all to be quiet. And it's I don't know, man. I don't vibe with that. I feel like
they'll
you're
talk about
professional.
the mental toughness that Djokovic goes through. It's like, no one's just saying a word. Like, let's say when you're getting screamed at. That's where the mental toughness jumps in.
Also, Tiger's dad used to blow the air horn in his backswing, and he would get through it. I mean, we've seen, there's always a lot of different distractions that happen. I think a lot of times you just try to blame somebody else. You hit a bad shot. It's not your fault. It's somebody else's fault. That's kind of built in. That's where it comes from,
So wait, so was the problem with the Ryder Cup crowd that they were rowdy, or was it the substance of the rowdiness? Like the things like was it? Or
I think it was
that?
what they were saying directly to
Okay.
Rory. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay.
And there was a lot of calling his wife different names, calling him different names.
Ooh.
He was giving the FUs back to the crowd. I mean, it was a tough scene. And Beth
The
Page is
problem
known
was
for that.
the tournament was in New York. That was the problem.
Yeah.
But true New Yorkers, they would yell at the U.S. team more than they would heckle the European.
Sure, that's true.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we needed more of that. We needed more of them saying "F you" to Scotty when he misses another putt. You know what I mean? That would be the New York crowd that I know and love. That would have been big. That would have been great.
Look, man, if Marcus Smart got to be chill when he was 19 years old, I kind of felt like they should have to do it too.
Yeah, everybody learn how to control yourself. Speaking of controlling yourself, us as NFL fans, we need to control ourselves with our takes on the Chiefs. Next up, NFL fans should be ashamed of themselves for writing off the Chiefs. Joel, over or under reaction?
I mean, I don't. People need to stop that. Like the Chiefs are going to be good as long as Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes are together, right? Like, I mean, I just don't like what. Okay, they lost on the road in Brazil, right? Okay, like that was weird. A team that is in a division with them that is, getting better under Harbaugh. Yeah, and they lost to the Eagles. Yeah, that makes sense. They're supposed to lose that game, but yeah, why would anybody ever bet against them? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, do people really think they're not going to make the playoffs? Like, I just don't. I don't know it's like that people refuse to. It's okay. This is it. I refuse to accept that Arch Manning is this bad. Like, I get it. So I'm just like, no, he's going to be good. And with the Chiefs, it seems to be no, they're good. Like, just they're not going to be bad anytime soon as long as that guy is somewhere near his prime. And that guy, I mean, Pat Mahomes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sal, overreaction or underreaction?
I mean, I agree with what Joel said is the Chiefs are going to be good so long as they have Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. I probably should get that tattooed on my neck. It's a long saying, but for God's sakes, I'm an idiot.
Regrets.
Yeah, it's an underreaction. Or maybe the Browns are just the get-right team against Baltimore. Is everyone that goes against Baltimore just going to look good? I mean, their 4 touchdown drives, the Chiefs, lasted a combined 8 minutes and change. For the last 2 years, they've had a ton of 8-minute drives that ended with a field goal or nothing. And here they scored 28 in 8 minutes. So I think the truth is somewhere in between, but they're definitely back in contention up against the Chargers have a banged-up offensive line. They're a game back, and they're going to have a home game against the Chargers. So, yeah, they're back.
And Sal, don't you think the Ravens uniforms fool people into thinking that Ray Lewis is still there for some reason?
Yeah,
right. Like I think people think that the Ravens are like badasses, and it's like Peter Bullware's out there and Chris McAllister, and I'm like, no, like that is not the Ravens anymore. Like these are different dudes. They're not the same big tough.
That's a great point. Does any other team benefit from that? I think you're right on the Ravens. The Seahawks a little bit, but when they're playing good, but I think you're right. The toughness is there because of that uniform, sharp.
Yeah, Terrell Suggs is not walking through that
door. That's right. T-Sizzle is done, man.
Everybody acts like that's the same defense. Like they just keep playing every single year. Next up at this point, UNC upsetting Clemson would be a good result for the ACC. Joel, I'll go to you. Over or under reaction?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, don't you? I mean, because I think the thing is Dabo has got time. He's not going anywhere. And people, it's kind of like with the Ravens thing. And we were talking about this on the tailgate this week. People have just not come to accept that Clemson's not any good. Like they just don't. They still think, oh man, if you beat Clemson, now it means Syracuse is good. Now it means Georgia Tech is a playoff contender. And hell no, Clemson's just bad. So if North Carolina were to luck up and beat Clemson, it would be amazing because they'd be like, wow, Bill schemed it up, man, and Dabo's not, clearly something is going on there. But it would really say, man, Clemson is not only is Clemson bad, but they're worse than we thought because you've seen their team tape. I mean, that is a bad college football team. It should not, as bad as Clemson is, it shouldn't happen. But if it did happen, it would be amazing, and people would be interested in North Carolina football again for at least another week.
Yeah, at least for a week. Sal, over or under reaction?
I mean, it sounds like Joel is not getting the Clemson will always be good as long as Dabo and Kate Klubnik are together tattoo. But I think that's a good pass. I don't know, Tate. We didn't go over this game. We didn't pick this game. They're catching 14.5 at home. That's a big number I think it was 12.5 before the season started. And now each team is equally as bad as they've been. Which way are you going with this?
Yeah, the only game that Cade Klubnik has looked like the Cade Klubnik that people talk about as a number one pick is against North Carolina in the ACC championship game. DJU got hurt. Cade Klubnik came in the game and he looked incredible. Outside of that, he has looked horrible to me in every meaningful game that I've watched him in. So I do think that North Carolina is like a bull seeing red. You know, when he sees that Carolina blue, Cade Klubnik's going to have his best game of the year. They'll probably drop 42 points on North Carolina. They'll probably win this game 42-14, and Bill Belichick will go back to Nantucket and have a nice weekend after. That's what I suspect.
Is it possible Jordan ends up dating Dabo? I mean, that might light up fire under Coach.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need her to be up on the board. Yeah.
You don't think they're going to end up happily ever after? Like, I was just,
I have my doubts. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Just don't know what it is.
Hey, I believe in love. Love is love. Let's see what happens. Last one, Sal, you love pizza. And I will ask you this. Sal will consume over 28.5 slices of pizza while in Brooklyn. Over or under reaction, Sal?
Well, you know what? I have faith in myself. I'm going to say underreaction. I had 4 at the Little Pizza Parlor here in Brooklyn. Great little spot, open till 1 a.m. Check it out. 4 at Grimaldi's. I had 1 at L&B, and I was leaving Grimaldi's. I saw there was an L&B across the street. I'm a disgusting man. Roberto's, I had 1. Ceros, I had 1. I stole that from someone. So that's 11. We're going to have 4 more tonight at Bamonte's. I'll have 3 or 4 at the wrap party. That leaves Wednesday and Friday to get like 10. I think I could do it if you back me. I think I could do it.
Hammer the over. That's what we want to say. Joel, do you believe in Sal based on that breakdown? Even the names of the places, it makes you believe.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be I was going to be like, no, hell no. Well, I didn't know which way seemed like the right way to go. But
I'm tripling.
Given what you threw out there, I think, you got to smash that over. I mean,
I'm keeping good track because I'm tripling up on Ozempic come Monday morning, so we'll be all right. Oh, man.
Talk to my doctor. I want to see if I can get in on some of that too. You know,
you
just can't get you. Just can't. I mean, you got to really have a relationship with your doctor. Be like, man,
it's true.
I want to also like you got some HGH back there somewhere. You know?
You gotta have something.
The problem is Ozempic is so much more expensive than pizza. That's the problem. Get it down. You know?
It's also doesn't hurt when you're doing podcasts at 1 a.m. You know what I mean? You need some pizza after that for the mind.
Exactly.
What else is open? What are you supposed to get? A salad?
That's right.
There you go. You got to go get a piece of pizza. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk some more college football and some media, some press box topics with our guy Joel Anderson. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. I'm here, Tate Frazier, with Cousin Sal and Joel Anderson. Before we get into some of the college football topics we want to run through, Joe, I have to ask you this. Are you drinking some water with lemon right now, some hot water specifically with lemon? And your thoughts on that? Does that sound good to you?
Well, I mean, if you're Mariah Carey, it sounds like something you might want to do. Right? That sounds like something Mariah Carey would do. No, I have Propel. Like it's like the little water, and you put the little Propel powder in there with a little hydration tablet or whatever. So
totally respectable. Yeah.
I mean, the hot part is interesting because I remember being broke in college and going to places and being like, oh, I'll just have a glass of water. Can you bring a cup of lemons and make sure you bring some sugar over as well? You know, you make a little, poor man's lemonade. But
you think that's it? You think Simmons maybe fell on some hard times, maybe some bad investments?
Yeah, is this a throwback to some days at Holy Cross or something? Because I get it, but the warming part of it is what kind of throws it all out of the mix.
Right.
So
I gave him the out. I did the Mariah Carey thing. I'm like, is it your voice? Are you sick? He's like, no. I just like hot water with lemon. What's wrong with that? and then I found the clip of the fat soprano Vito asking for hot water with lemon, and that just rocked his world. He's like, God damn it. So now he's Vito.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, there's cold water, room temperature water, but hot water is, I was not expecting that.
That's
totally different thing. Yeah.
So he's getting it out of one of the cooler, right? Well, not a cooler, but like the water machine, right? And he's
got a hot water dispenser.
Not putting no tea. Man, all right.
He said it was good for the pipes.
Tea bag in there.
Maybe like I'm saying, Mariah Carey, because it wouldn't stain your teeth, but it would also be soothing to your throat.
It's just not a good way to end a manly Sunday with the Ryder Cup and baseball and football, and then like I'm gonna finish this 40-40 game. I know what it needs: hot water and lemon.
Well, he told you because he missed the 2-point return in the Cowboys game because he was making his hot water with lemon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he missed a crucial
That's
2-point conversion that actually ended up being important.
He caused it. He may have caused it.
That's what it was. All right, Joel, let's talk about him. Texas, you brought it up earlier. You believe in Texas. I asked you on Ringer Tailgate on Saturday, the best one-loss team in the country. You said you thought it was still Texas, the preseason #1 team. They have not beaten a Power 4 team yet. They play at Florida this week. Sal and I both like Florida. Sal likes the points. I like a money line.
Okay.
Why should we believe in Texas this weekend?
Well, I mean, I think Texas still has one of the 3 best defenses in the country, right? So every week you got to deal with that defense. It doesn't make a difference what Arch is doing or whatever. Like just on that half, going into the game, points are going to be at a premium. I think they lead the country at yards per play right now. And they got, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, Jelani McDonald. They've got stars at every level of the defense. So now it's like, okay, the offense. We're not even halfway through the year. Again, I mentioned this earlier. I don't think Arch Manning can be this bad, right? Like, I don't think that he is a bad quarterback. Like, I just refuse to believe it, right? And given that, I think that there's a chance that he will get better towards the end of the year, or at least that Sark is going to figure out ways to make him more effective. They get back their leading rusher from last year, Contravion Wisner, from injury at some point. And like DeAndre Moore has been kind of a disappointment as a receiver, but at the receiver position, but I think he's going to come back and do better. So I just feel like they have a lot of improvement that they can and likely will make on offense. And then they've already got that defense that is going to be difficult to deal with. Also, the schedule, man. Y'all think, I mean, Florida, bro. All right, whatever y'all say. I feel like if that game goes bad enough, that'll be the last time we see Billy Napier on the sideline. But think about it. So they're at Florida. They get OU probably without Mateer, right? And then they've got
a big win. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so the 2 hard games they have, one at Georgia and they get Texas A&M at the end of the year. Those are the 2 games that they may or may not be favored in. I don't know, man. I feel like they got a chance to put it all together before the end of the year.
This is your Chiefs.
You believe?
This is his Kansas City Chiefs. It's like people sleeping on him, right? This is a playoff team.
Yeah, this is a playoff team. They're going to be good, man.
Yeah,
I
like
guess.
that call.
Tate and I are just so used to taking Florida and getting our teeth kicked in every week. So now it's just a joke. So
we're having fun. We're having fun picking the Gators.
Have you ever looked
think
at them
Lagway
and
said
felt
it's going to
sorry
pop
for
at
them?
some point.
Yeah, I looked at them and felt sorry for them. I was like, man, this is really sad. What's happening there?
I wanted to ask you about this, Joel. Obviously, we're doing Ringer Tailgate. We talk about all the experts in college football. We talked about hold experts accountable, damn it. That's our slogan on that show. And the experts said that Clemson was the most talented team in the country. Texas was the #1 team in the country. Cade Klubnik was going to be the #1 overall pick. So that's 3 strikes and you're out as far as I'm concerned. How do you deal with the experts? And, should we be holding these guys a little bit more accountable? Because the predictions were way off base at this point.
Okay, so the first 2 things I understand, right? Because I was like, man, Clemson these are NFL scouts and other people presumably that are telling you, like, look, man, they got 2 defensive linemen and Woods and Parker that are probably top 10 picks. They've got other first-round talent in that defense. Avion Terrell is the cornerback. And, I'm looking at that and they're bringing back a lot of people on defense. And I'm like, and offense. And I'm like, presumably they will get better. The thing that I don't think anybody figured is that that maybe Dabo is just not, that coaching staff is just not reaching Clemson in quite the same way, right? Or that they're just not developing in the same way they are. And it's interesting you think about that and see how Virginia's gotten better on offense and how good they look this year. And that was the brain power that used to be up there at Clemson, right? Mm-hmm. So I just wonder if we just didn't account for that. But and Texas is still good. The game they lost was on the road at the #1 team in the opening week of the season. They still could be good. I don't hold that loss against them as much as other people do. The Cade Klubnik shit though, bro. I'm trying to think what distinguishes him from Drew Aller other than uniform. Cause I'm like, this guy that y'all keep telling me that he is, I've never seen it. This is, with his faith and his belief in things unseen. So I would have had to have taken on Cade Klubnik oh yeah, you guys say this guy's an NFL first round draft pick. I've never seen that, but you guys keep saying it. And I never understood what was going on there. So any of them experts or the people that think that Drew Aller is a first round quarterback, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like when are you, exception of one thing in one game, a playoff game for Cade Klubnik, I've never seen him play good against a good defense. And I've never, ever seen Drew Aller play good against a good defense. I'm just like, so what do you, those experts, I want them to step up because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about, man.
I think you're right. I think the reverse of that is in preseason, if you say Cade Klubnik sucks, you're really putting yourself out there, right? More times than not, you're going to be wrong, but not this time, probably. But yeah, I think all the accountability. Let's start with Shedeur Sanders. This time last year, he was the #1 pick, right?
Right.
And his story still isn't written, by the way. He could jump in there and be great. He could be great for would have been a great first round pick, or maybe he sucked as whatever they end up getting him, 5th, 6th round. So yeah, that's it. It is really tough to pinpoint these guys.
Yeah, and Carson back at the start of last season also was on the board as the #1 pick. Now he might be back on the board as the #1 pick. So things swing very quickly, right, Joe?
Think about how often they have, like, Spencer Rattler went into one year as the presumptive #1 pick, and then like by midseason he had been benched by Caleb Williams, right?
Oh yeah,
Caleb Williams was supposed to have been a generational quarterback prospect, right? And he can be good, but I think that like we probably know that we're not looking at Warren Moon. You know what I mean? When we look at Caleb Williams. So yeah, like the experts, it's fine, but I guess like, so real quick on this one, Arch Manning, I was talking to somebody about Arch Manning and they were like, if we basically have to make him a 5-star because it just drives interest in our product. People will look at us, and do memberships and get subscriptions or whatever. And the doing the Shedeur Sanders thing is the same thing. Like, how do you get attention for a mock draft? It's boring if you got like offensive guards up there. You got to put quarterbacks up there.
Yeah, they did that with Bronny James. Yeah.
Yep. Same.
And Joel, yet Cam Ward is the least celebrated #1 overall pick in our lifetime. And so how do they pull back on that? When he's arguably just as good as some of those guys you were going to mention.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I always kind of wondered going into the Miami year. I was like, why don't people think Cam Ward is going to be as good as he, and he proved up to that. But I guess, again, pedigree has so much to do with this. And have people ever heard of you before? And I don't think that people do mock drafts trying to get it wrong, but I also think they're like, well, I need people to look at this too.
Right.
Yeah. We love second generation stars too. I mean, this is like the Steph Curry syndrome a little bit, where it's like we know the name and, then from there we can kind of build off of that, build off those building blocks. I wanted to ask you this, Joel, team that you most trust this season in college football, because everyone's trying to figure out who's actually good. Is it Ohio State? Is it Oregon? Those are the two teams obviously at the top, but is there a team that you're like, hey, neutral site, if I had to bet my life on it, don't actually bet your life on it, but if you had to, who's a team that you would actually trust this year?
You would not get very much money if I died as a result of it. But Ohio State by far, man. I mean, again, defense. Man, they went up. Washington allegedly had a good offense, and they strangled the life out of them. They choked them out on their whole home field. And again, a defense is something you're gonna have to deal with every week, man. Like they may get got like that, like what happens to Georgia in every first half against Alabama is that they're blitzed. It's a blitzkrieg. They don't know what the hell is going on, and then they settle in. But for like the Texases and Ohio States, like going into the game, there's no way that getting points is going to be easy. Like you cannot expect to do the 45 points thing against them. So Ohio State has this great defense. Again, stars at every level. Julian Sand, the quarterback, he's already good. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in the country. He's only getting better. He's got the best wide receiving corps in the country. The line is getting better, more cohesive. And now maybe they found a rushing option in, Bo Jackson. They got a little freshman running back named Bo Jackson who has emerged in the last couple games. And so if they get that rolling, I'm just like, I don't know. It would be hard. Anybody can lose because these are children, right? But in terms of talent, and like their potential to get better. Like it's not just that they're good now, it's that Julian Sand is going to be a hell of a lot better. Even Jeremiah Smith is going to get better. He'll see more defenses and everything. So like their floor is already really high, but their ceiling is also higher than anybody else's in the country.
Sal, you buying that? You like Ohio
Yeah,
State?
I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know. There's two ways to look at it, right? Like Texas, Ohio State. We can go back to that early game that Joel talked about. Texas got stopped on 4th and 1 at the goal line, and Ohio State made it 4th and 1 at the goal line. Otherwise, it's a different result. But I think overall, Joel is right. Ohio State has the tools and the players who should just get better as the year goes on.
I want to ask about the SEC propaganda because the SEC could be in trouble right now. Obviously, everyone's trying to figure out the best team in the SEC, and now you have the mouthpiece of the whole operation, Paul Feinbaum, saying he might run for Senate, Joel. This is a nice little media crossover. They said no politics in sports, and Feinbaum said not so fast. Do you buy this, and do you think this is a future for Feinbaum? And what does that look like? My goodness.
Well, there's one thing I want to say that I don't think I can say. About whether or not Alabama is going to vote for. Okay, all right, we'll see. But if you get past that, man, who talks to MAGA more than Paul Feinbaum, man? Like his whole listenership is he knows the intimacy. He knows them so intimately. He talks to those folks every day. And in terms of name recognition, I mean, there's not very many people in that state. Man, Alabama is so weird because they were trying to draft Nick Saban, the Democrats there, to run for office not too long ago. And I'm just like, man, I mean, that just shows, really the hint is
you got Tuberville already, former
But that's what I was
coach.
going to say, Tommy Tuberville's not even like a popular coach down there, and he got to be senator. So that's just how much football matters down there. So, or sports. So yeah, man, I could see Paul doing it. He's in his 70s. Is he just bored? Did he want some attention? I kind of feel like this is the age where you get you a Jordan and kind of just go off into the sunset.
I think Arch Manning broke him, right, Sal? He said Arch Manning was going to be generational. He's going to be the greatest talent we've seen in college football. And after we've seen the tape, I think he said, I'm out. He doesn't believe in college football anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, if your predictions have to be wrong all the time, then the U.S. Senate's probably just the right spot for him. And he might be a little young at 70, 71. He is. I don't know. I have no comment. I want my cousin's show to stay on the air for at least 4 more days. So I'll pass on this topic.
Yeah, can we talk about that quickly? Joel, you and Brian talked about this, the Jimmy Kimmel saga a little bit. He's back on the airwaves. I think 7 million viewers on that Tuesday night show, which was awesome. So what how fun is it, to kind of witness the return there and then just sort of the discourse? I mean, how hard is it to try to put that in a box and talk about it from a media perspective? Because boy, do we live in weird times.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get y'all in trouble. What I'll say is that
Sal just muted himself.
Right. Yeah, he can disassociate himself with these comments. I think the one thing that Jimmy Kimmel showed is that if you are willing to fight, like, you don't necessarily have to capitulate at every corner, right? Like if you've got enough support, enough money, enough fuck you money too, to be like, I don't necessarily need this job, but like I have enough connections and enough people care about maybe not even Jimmy Kimmel, but just the idea that the government would try to pressure people to push you off the air, that if you're willing to fight back, you might win. That's like that's what I think about. That, you don't have to, this is not a fait accompli. Like, we're just, everything in this country is still very much up for grabs. And it's useful and helpful when people like Jimmy Kimmel, because Jimmy could have just said, the hell with this, I don't want to do this anymore. But I think that, like, by returning to his job and immediately getting back on his ass, getting back on people's ass, making jokes about him, making fun of him, it shows it's like, hey man, people are not necessarily as powerful as you think you are. My mom always used to say this to me when I was a kid. She used to say, power is assumed, right? And which was her way of saying that, like, sometimes somebody can tell you no, but that doesn't necessarily have to be your story, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I kind of think about this, that that I'm glad that Jimmy Kimmel stood up in a moment and protected our right to free speech and everything else. And I hope other people take notice that maybe they can do it, and they can prosper, and people will trust you. Like, there's a whole new level of trust that Jimmy Kimmel has a lot more people that support him and are interested in him and care about him in his career now because he stood up. Just imagine if he had just walked away and given up,
God bless you, Joel. I'm gonna put in a free Texas to win the championship bet for you.
Well, you know what? I'm torn on that because I hate Texas.
He's a TCU
What do you
guy.
want?
I'm a TCU guy. I mean,
I know.
I can't let Texas fans be happy, but I
It'll hurt
appreciate
less.
the
It'll hurt
sentiment.
less.
It'll hurt less.
Yes. Yeah. I just listen. I agree. Fight. But that big orange baby doesn't like losing, so it's not exactly going to be smooth sailing the rest of the way. But thank you. I appreciate your thoughts.
I love it. And for more of Joel's thoughts, you can go listen to the press box of Brian Curtis. Always good stuff. And also listen to us on the Ringer Tailgate. We're talking college football. Joel, you're the best. We appreciate you coming on the show, man. And we'll have you back very soon. Thanks again, brother.
I would love it, fellas. Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, we're back. Ringer Gambling Show. Last segment, best bets for Tuesday night. We got some playoff baseball on the board. Sal, what do you like tonight? What are you looking at?
Let's do it. Am I an old loser, Tate, for not wanting to go to this Red Sox-Yankees game? I have an opportunity.
No, you're okay.
Okay, good. I mean, if not for the fans and the traffic, I would love it. Like if we could zip from Brooklyn to the Bronx in like 8 minutes and I was the only fan there when we got there, I think it would be ideal. But I'm taking the Red Sox plus 116. Garrett Crochet's a dynamo on the hill for the Red Sox. Big spot for him. He's 3-0, 290 ERA, 45 Ks and 7 outings against the Yankees all time. Aaron Judge has 2 homers off of him, but 2 for 13 with 10 strikeouts. So that is just a alien versus predator type matchup. I think the Red Sox step up, and we hear from our horrible Boston fan friends a lot this week.
Yeah, they're going to be chirping quite a bit. And again, I think the Yankees fans celebrating the Mets' demise was not a good move. And, I think it's going to come back to bite them in the end. So I like that pick, Red Sox plus 116. I'm going to go with the Guardians, and I feel like they have a guardian angel around this team when it comes to AL success. For whatever reason, the Guardians find a way to win baseball games. Plus 140. I'm going to take them in this one. 2.13 ERA as a team over the last month. So a lot of good pitching coming out of Cleveland. And also just the group that, like I said, they just feel almost like predestined to win this series and win this game. So I'm going to take them plus 140 in this one, Sal. So we're both going AL. We're both going with some plus money. And let's hope we get these bets right on a Tuesday. We need to get this going in the right direction, right?
Let's go. That's an early game. You're going against Scooball, but they beat them the other day and the week before that. So it's a good bet.
Yeah, come on, Guardians, come on, Red Sox. Let's go get some wins for us, and appreciate everybody tuning in to the Ringer Gambling Show. This Tuesday version, we're having a lot of fun. Sal, you're the best. Where can we find all your work, and then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day, man.
I'm right here. You're not here tomorrow, but I'll be here with House and DeBundo, and then Friday I'll be there with DeBundo, and Heifetz finally comes back from Europe. We'll see if we could sober him up a little. And I interviewed Todd Marinovich. We're going to have that on the Friday show.
Oh, man. Love that. Todd Marinovich. You love to see it. Yeah, hopefully Danny Heifetz has survived all the Guinnesses he consumed over there in Dublin. Sounds like a good time. We appreciate everybody tuning into the Ringer Gambling Show. And Sal and the guys will talk to you tomorrow.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York